William David Kahn, better known as Billy Kahn, a Pittsburgh kid. He was born October 8, 1917 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He died May 29, 1993. He was 75 years of age at the time of his death. I had the pleasure of meeting Billy Kahn several times. And Billy Kahn was a stand-up individual. Quite a character he was. And he always believed he can beat Joe Louis. He stood 6 foot 1.5 inches and had a 72.5 inch reach. He had 76 total bouts, 64 wins, 15 knockouts. And he fought a fighter by the name of Ralph Chong. He was in the ring with Fitzy Zivic, one of 5 Zivic brothers. Fitzy Zivic would defeat Henry Armstrong October 4th, 1940 for the welterweight championship strap. He'd be in the ring with Ed Babe Risco, who was a state middleweight champion, Vince Dundee and Oscar Rankins, Teddy Uros, who was a middleweight champion, Young Corbett III, who would defeat Jackie Fields, but he would lose his strap to Jimmy McLarnin. Billy Kahn would split victories with Charlie Krieger. Charlie Krieger would give Billy Kahn a beating that he would never forget. But Billy Kahn would return the favor several months later. He would also face Fred Apostoli twice and defeat him twice. He would win the NBA and the New York Site Light Heavyweight Championship from Milo Patina when he defeated him twice. He'd be in the ring with Bronx, New York's Bob Pastor. And he would also face Lisa Void, 2 Joe Louis opponents. He would face Gus Lesnovich twice, Olympic Stadium at Madison Square Garden, both for the New York Sack and the NBA Light Heavyweight Championship strap. He would face Joe Louis on a Wednesday night, June 18, 1941, at the New York Polo Grounds. That would be the debut of Don Dunphy's radio call, one of the greatest calls in boxing history. He would lose by a 13-round knockout. Referee Eddie Joseph would start the count as Billy Kahn would try to rise, but he couldn't continue, and the fight would be stopped. Billy Kahn would be knocked out. Had the fight won, but he could not resist himself. Beautiful combinations were thrown, landing body and head at Billy Kahn. And when he dropped and got up and was interviewed after, his words, he stated, "What's the sense of being Irish if you can't be stupid?" Billy Kahn was some character and had some personality. But he would also face fighters such as Antonio Fernandez. Now, Antonio Fernandez would be on the card, and he would lose to Black Murderers Row Holman Williams. And also on that card, you had Puerto Rican star Jose Basora. Fantastic card that was. And Billy Kahn would defeat Dayton, Ohio's heavyweight, Buddy Knox. Buddy Knox had total bouts of 171 bouts, 121 wins, 59 knockouts, 41 losses, and he'd be stopped himself a few times. He would fight fighters such as Wallet Cross, and he would defeat him. Turkey Thompson lose to him. Buddy Walker have a draw with him, and Jimmy Bivens lose to him. Leoma, etc. Billy Kahn was some fighter. When speaking to Billy Kahn, I asked him about the Joe Louis fight. And the thing with Billy Kahn, you can never really take Billy Kahn serious because he was just a joker. But Billy Kahn was some fighter and some humanitarian. He would get a second shot at Joe Louis in 1946. He'd be stopped in the 8th round with an uppercut and a left hook combination. But he asked Joe Louis about that 1941 bout while he was in the Army. He said, "Joe, why couldn't you allow me to walk around with the heavyweight championship belt for 6 months?" Joe Louis said, "You had it for 13 rounds. How the hell are you going to have it for 6 months?" Billy Kahn, some fighter. And he represented the Irish community in good standings. Salute to my subscribers. Salute to Billy Kahn. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Salute.